the hate army troll.
It's the hate army,
bro. Hate army.
Shout out to hate.
Good vibes to the
Shout
hate
out to
army.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out
Shout
for
out to
hate.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out for
Shout
hate.
out for hate.
Was it worth enduring a decade of trolls, daily streams, managing lies, and being hated in the only community you know? The answer is yes, because Phil has something almost no one else has.
Look at this. He made a ring and everything. All right, now this is cool. He made an animated ring for this. This is neat. It's WWE Champions time, brother. Yeah! Come on! Drop the leg. Yeah! Come on! That's amazing that he put that in there like
Phil's
that.
plights were all worth it because of this Candy Crush, gotcha-designed phone game themed around the WWE, known as WWE Champions. It is important to note that Phil has refuted investing into this game to the extent people have claimed. Despite a mountain of very strong evidence, he has room to dismiss it because there is no smoking gun. Phil has a history of playing other mobile games themed around the WWE, and was not shy to spend money on microtransactions to get an advantage.
Yep.
However, on WWE Champions, there is an account that has seen some tremendous climbing in the leaderboards that would be impossible without microtransactions. This account's name was They Call Me DSP. Phil's Twitter handle is also They Call Me DSP.
Okay, so I'm gonna let this play out. I'm gonna see all the stuff he has to say. I'm gonna play the whole segment. I want to hear it all. I'm not gonna react. You might see me nodding or whatever, reacting. I'm just gonna let it play. And when the segment is done, I'm gonna pause and then I'm gonna say what I have to say. Okay?
Phil has a history of using that username in other apps like Pokemon Go, and Phil in the past has admitted to playing.
WWE Champions is a game that plays a lot like Candy Crush of all games, or what's the other one? Bejeweled. It plays like those two games with wrestlers, and honestly, the game cheats and is not very good. But I just play it because it has wrestlers in it.
What detractors seek to prove is that the account They Call Me DSP is indeed darksydephil. If they can attach this account to Phil, then that alone proves that Phil spent tens of thousands of dollars on this game. This is where TJ Gamebox comes in, a person that plays the same mobile game. He was dragged into this mess through unscrupulous threats.
We're playing WWE Champions, and we're part of a guild called Xena. And the guild, unfortunately, was joined by a person that was named They Call Me DSP. The second that he was in my guild, a lot of people in my guild were threatened to be doxxed by detractors for having him in the guild because they didn't want us to go ahead and give him any prominence in the game.
It was clear that detractors were keeping tabs on the They Call Me DSP account, and they were following this account through various guilds, threatening guild members in-game. Other guilds, like TJ's guild, would adhere to the detractor demands and remove They Call Me DSP. It is also important to note that besides Phil claiming that he does not own the account, attempts have been made to reach out to the They Call Me DSP account to see if the owner could somehow prove that they were not DSP. The owner was not cooperative, which gives more fuel to the theory. As for TJ, having some prior knowledge of Phil became interested in this investigation.
So I went further into it. I decided to keep track of money, keep track of tabs, keep track of when he's online. When I would find that he was online whenever DSP was offline. And whenever he was online streaming, that account was offline.
The thing is, with higher spenders or those more invested in games, guilds, clans, whatever it may be, drift off their game and use third-party software to communicate with one another. This, in most cases, is Discord, but in other cases it can be apps like WhatsApp, which is primarily used for communication. There is also the Line app, which serves a similar function. And as it so happens, one of the guilds They Call Me DSP joined was using the Line app.
When I noticed he joined one of the guilds, there was a part where he could be part of the Line app. It says Line app was used for communication. So I did a little bit of digging and found that if you connected his phone number, because this phone number is public, onto the Line app, it popped up with They Call Me DSP.
This is a strong form of verification. You type in your number, then the app sends a message with a code to that number. This is rather straightforward because though numbers can be duped with outgoing messages, messaging the number back will result in reaching the actual number and not any spoofed one. Forgetting about the need of phone verification, Phil initially dismissed it as a troll with creating a line account under the Call Me DSP.
Sounds like someone made an account in my name to try to fucking screw me over, just like Discords and everything else that's happened this year. I know nothing about it, but it sounds like you're a conspiracy theorist, doesn't it?
A viewer then informs Phil that his number is tied to the Line app account, to where Phil changes his tune.
Really big boy, you have to enter a code from an SMS message when you download the app. The troll has access to your text messaging. I'd contact the authorities if I were you. Oh my god. Oh! I'm just, seriously, like there's no way to dupe one of these app companies into thinking that you are using a phone number that you're not, right? Or there's no possible way that in the 6 years since my cell phone's been doxxed that I changed my number, right? No way possible that I would have possibly done that, right?
Phil claims two things. Firstly, that it may be possible to fool a company through a spoof number, which it is not. The second is Phil introducing the potential that he changed his number during this time, which was countered by someone calling Phil's number and getting this.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. Phil Burnell.
Not only that, when ranting about John Rambo, he slips up.
I have nothing to make amends for with Rambo. I never mistreated the guy. The guy was always told me that he was happy when we were doing work together and everything. He's the one who cut off contact with me and lied to me saying everything was all right, but then stopped talking to me and then made a negative video about me later. He would have to reach out to me. I am the one who still has the same phone number. Felted, exposed, felted, humbled. That's right, it's him. It's the guy. It's him all along. There he is. Owned. Fucking owned. Yes. All right, let's continue. I'm not going to say a word. I had to react to that, but let's continue. I'm the one who, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the guy who's still easily reachable.
What this proves is Phil has a Line account, and also another item to stack on the massive pile of Phil's lies. But again, Phil could run with the narrative that just because he has a Line account that is also under the Call Me DSP, that doesn't prove that he plays WWE Champions. And so the investigation continues and lands on a different third party, Discord.
So I have sources of him joining and being kicked out of my guild. I have sources of him being in another WWE Champions Discord and me talking to him.
This is significantly more promising than the Line app, because unlike the Line app, They Call Me DSP's Discord is clearly seen interacting with TJ's guild. And while anyone could choose whatever name they please on Discord, all accounts had to have a unique code attached to them. And thanks to a bot archiving the people that left the Discord, that not only shows the name, but also unique Discord ID, which is 4058.
You know, if only I was tech savvy. If only I were tech savvy, maybe I would have got away with it. All right, let's continue.
At the time, Phil also had a secret mod Discord, and a rogue mod just happened to leak Phil's unique Discord ID, which was also 4058. Though the numbers are clear, what Phil now relies on is trying to state that the evidence itself is illegitimate. Somehow, one way or another, some image is altered, and of course, they never used Discord for those purposes.
The only time I ever used Discord was to chat with people back when I had a partnership with Twitch and stuff like that. I had a contact who I chatted to in Discord. But outside of that, I never used it for anything else. I don't even know what Line app is. I guess it's just chat. I don't know. Maybe it does do those other things. I have no idea.
At this point, one can reasonably deduce that They Call Me DSP is Phil. Though Phil claims what should be definitive evidence is false, and relies on his minuscule credibility to sway his audience.
You know, if it weren't for those pesky kids and that really annoying dog, I could have just left the mask on and I could have been the freaking bog monster, right? But no. You had to actually use technology to thwart the evil king. How dare you? How dare you? Let's continue.
And so the investigation continues to find something more definitive that Phil cannot excuse as false. This is where the bankruptcy documents come into play. His expenses are most pertinent. On page 32 of his bankruptcy petition, these personal expenses are itemized between him and his wife. His monthly expenses...
Hold on, how long? Oh, we're halfway through? Because I'm trying to see how long the segment is. Because remember, I'm going to let the whole segment play.
come around to $5,100. His mortgage and tax payment plan make up for nearly half of his personal expenses. There's nothing eyebrow-raising here. But then you look on Form 122A, the monthly business income and expenses. Here you find something entirely different. On page 4, it shows what Phil's income for the months of July, August, September, October, November, and December of 2019 were. He never made under $8,000, and in just these 6 months made a total of $55,000. But did he really? In this form, he listed his business expenses, which are separate from personal expenses. Expenses meant to only be related to his content creation job. These expenses are $9,000 for the month of July, $5,400 for August, $3,100 for September, $4,400 for October, $4,300 for November, and $4,900 for December. In July alone, he claims to have lost $867 from his streaming job somehow. And because these do not have to be itemized, as the only purpose of this form is to make sure you're not making enough money to reasonably pay off your debts, means Phil does not have to explain how a job, with virtually no overhead, where at most his expenses should be limited to purchasing games, is costing him thousands of dollars a month. What's more, on his bankruptcy petition on page 14 of 50, he claims to only have $1,500 in business assets. So as the courts would see it, these expenses would have to go into services. It is understood that Phil doesn't pay his mods. On the contrary, his mods pay him. He asks viewers to pay for his games. He doesn't use any services for his business that would charge those thousands of dollars. And so this leaves many to believe this is how Phil hides his WWE Champions transactions, labeling them as business expenses. Which, if Phil can play to the government's ignorance of his content creation job so long as they see it as profitable, then perhaps Phil can also do this on his taxes. And so, what does Phil have in response to these official documents? When I asked him, quote, "Do you believe it's incorrect/possible that you spent solely that much on your business for those months?"
Now keep in mind, I'm going to tell you everything, so, okay? I'm going to tell you everything, so, well, I don't even remember what I said, but it's probably not my response for tonight, right? But here we go.
He responded with, "It's not just possible, it's true. That's what my attorney submitted, and that's what was reviewed and approved in the bankruptcy case. But specifics I can never talk about because 1, I didn't do those calculations. The attorney did, so I honestly have no idea what they actually include. And number 2, I wouldn't publicly talk about any expenses, personal or business-wise regardless. It's literally nobody's business besides the bankruptcy court." Unquote. Phil refused to itemize his expenses, citing both his ignorance of them and the privacy around them. There are also clear discrepancies on the filings. On page 12 of 50 in the bankruptcy petition, the box is checked that he doesn't own any non-farm animals, but he owns his cat, Jasper. There is also speculation on the valuation of his Washington condo, as on page 1150, it states it is valued at $379,000 according to Zillow. These smaller items made people ever more speculative of Phil and the WWE account that vanished. They Call Me DSP disappeared from the game, but there was an account that had similar stats.
They Call Me DSP, to the Gun Show 87, to now Down from the Rafters, which, by the way, you cannot use the name Down from the Rafters in WWE Champions because the name is too big to use. So that means it was changed by a bot. It was changed by Scrollbly.
Down the Rafters was the last name change. As the account stated, this will be the last time they would try to change their name, as it was clear that they could not hide from the trolls that follow them, thinking that they are, quote, "some idiot video game streamer that they hate," unquote. By 2020, Phil was adamant that he had quit all mobile games. Not even just recently, but all the way back in 2018.
In 2018, I quit all mobile games. I don't play them anymore. I got rid of them. I said, I'd rather focus time on important stuff with my family and stuff. I don't waste time. I keep telling you guys this. Mobile games are money sinks. You'll put money into it, you put time into it and money into it, and you don't get anything really out of it unless you're constantly keep playing and sinking more money into it. That's the truth of the matter. I quit all those mobile games because they were just pay to win. It got to the point where they're really fun to play at first, and then you realize you can't actually progress unless you drop money to get all the new cards.
Far more
I'm not surprised this is like the longest segment or close to it. Okay.
More captivating at the time was the ongoing bankruptcy proceedings.
Okay, the next matter is Philip Burnell.
This is Rochelle Sheffield for the debtor, and Philip Burnell is with me.
He's in your office with you?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Burnell, you there?
I am present.
Yeah.
That audio was from a 341 meeting. In this meeting, the debtor, Phil Burnell, is accompanied by his trustee. A basic rundown of this meeting is to catch discrepancies within the bankruptcy filings. Creditors are expected to, but often don't attend. This call took place during COVID. Many facilities were closed, and the online space was looked upon as the temporary replacement, a place where Phil's trolls lived.
Nancy?
Yes?
Sorry, there's 60 people on the line for this call, so I think that's the problem.
Okay.
A reason so many were invested in this call, some even live streaming it, was to see if Phil's inexplicable business expenses would be questioned.
What is WWE Network?
WWE
Oh,
Network.
WWE Network. That is just an on-demand video service for watching, professional wrestling. That is not business related.
Many, with the opening of that question, thought that was the moment Phil was caught. But it was just a service that was being asked about.
You've provided me a copy of your PayPal account for 1 month. I would like to see the last 6 months of both of your PayPal statements.
Oh no, it's gonna happen.
This also turned out to be a false positive. But again, hopes were up when Phil was asked to explain his business expenses.
What do you consider a business expense?
Anything relating, to the business per the instruction of my tax attorney. So it could be, the cost of a video game, the cost of a subscription for a video game, a microtransaction within a video game, the cost of a piece of new equipment, maintenance on set equipment every month. It could be the internet, cost of internet every month. It could be cost of, utilities necessary for the business, cost of cell phone for the business.
Oh my god.
This was dismissed rather easily, likely through the ignorance of the attendees. But if anything, it did prove that Phil knew how his business expenses were calculated, making people more curious about what they could be now that he couldn't dismiss the expenses as being ignorant of them. And then the meeting was turned to the quote-unquote creditors.
Okay, I have no further questions. Are there creditors on the line?
There were no real creditors on the line, for the record. Okay.
Hello?
Yes, are you a creditor?
There was only one person willing to confront Phil. It was a troll concealed as a creditor from Citibank who had one burning question.
Reviewing your filing, it looks like you stated here that you have about $5,000 a month in business expenses. Can you itemize that for me?
Hold on. Legit. Wait, I don't need these.
What followed was a few seconds of silence. Phil was likely in conversation with his trustee and came back with this.
Nancy, I'm not sure this person is for Citibank.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
While the troll continued to masquerade as a representative of Citibank, through his persistence that Phil was attempting to distract from the question, there was issue with his question. With the meeting looking at the Schedule J form, the questions were pertaining to Phil's personal expenses. This is a personal bankruptcy. His business was only glanced over, with the attendees satisfied with Phil's as a solid, esoteric explanations. And so they referred him to his personal expenses, which were already broken down. Not too long after the meeting ended, with just one more outburst from a troll.
Why am I poisoned? Why am I toxic?
Yeah, his head exploded. His head exploded. That's great.
This meeting, in terms of wanting to expose Phil, was a failure. Phil's bankruptcy case was closed, and he surrendered his Connecticut condo and remained streaming.
Is this the end of the segment? Well, let's see.
So it did show there was an additional consequence of Phil's long-standing internet presence and infamy. The children that may have watched him in 2010 and grew to hate him over time have aged and become adults who are more proficient in all things, like trolling and archiving. Archiving, like creating...
Oh, so is that it? Or is he going on to the next segment? Oh no, Vest Streak is next, so let's keep going. He's not done yet.
Graphs meant to keep track of Phil's expenses. This, compared to future archiving methods, made these appear rudimentary. Even so, the visualization of this data makes it clear-cut that Phil's earnings are on the rise. It was long thought that his channel would fade out, but year after year it's been persistent. This is where a different archiving tool helps. PigPigGo is a website that scours Phil's massive catalog.
Oh, so we're in the Vest Streak now? They're going to start talking about what I made during the Vest Streak, I think. I think that's what we're at now. I think so. I think that's it. All right.
Catalog of tens of thousands of videos. The way it works is you put in a phrase. This searches Phil's YouTube transcripts and lists them in order by date. You can also search within a specific date and visualize the usage of a word through the trend option. And if we type in vest with a space on both sides.
Okay, vest. All right. He's on to the vest streak. So now we're done with that. So now it's time for me to respond to the entire thing. Okay. And this will be the end of tonight, actually. I think this will be good to end the stream tonight. And then we'll continue with the vest streak tomorrow to finish it. Okay. So here, let's go back. I'm going to go back to the ring. The ring was epic that he started with. What the hell? I can't. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. All right. We'll do it from. Oh. Well, I was going to do. Should I do it from here or should I do full screen? All right. So here's the deal. I'll just do a full screen. Fuck this. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. I'm about to tell you the actual truth. However, there's still people who aren't going to believe it. There's still people who will never be satisfied no matter what I tell you. All right. They're going to say I lied. They're going to say this is bullshit. Right. And so this is only for those who actually are capable of like rational thought and considering the truth and things like that. Okay. All right. You already know I have a history of spending money on mobile games. I've already admitted it. Okay. Everything that I said in that segment on stream was a lie. Literally every time someone asked me about WWE Champions, I lied. Every single fucking time. Because to me, my personal spending, things I was doing off stream, was no one's business. Okay? And every time someone brought it up, I'm like, this is so stupid. This is dumb. You know what I'm saying? And I just lied to get it out of the way. And I tried so hard for so long to lie about it, to get people to just forget about it. But I forgot. Well, not really forgot. But I definitely underestimated the anal nature of these people who stalk me. All right? A couple things they outright got me on. Like, for example, the Discord thing. I had no idea about any of that. I was incredibly ignorant, okay, of all of it. I didn't know any of that shit. So I had no clue that they could like track a Discord versus like numbers on your name and shit like that. So, you know, for me, here's the thing. You really, if you're a person who's coming to my stream and you just want to watch the content and have fun, do you want to hear about this shit? My fans did not care about me playing WWE Champions. My fans did not care about any of that shit. All right? When I was doing a fundraiser for a week to pay taxes, yeah, that's literally what it was. Yeah, there was some misspeaking and things over time about exactly directly where the money was going, but it was because I was kind of desperate for that week, you know. But the WWE Champions thing, 100%, again, I just always lied about it because I thought it wasn't important. It was just something that my detractors were trying to do because, again, they tried to get me time and time again over the years, so many times for stupid shit that wasn't true. They had finally found one stupid little thing that they got me on, right? So I'm going to tell you this the truth now, but again, many of you are not going to believe it. I can't make you believe it. And I'm going to open up for the first time about this topic ever right now here tonight. And some of you, if this is it for you and you can't take it and you want to leave and you're not going to come back, I can't stop you. All right? I can't. But for those who've been here through this journey with me, by 16 years as a content creator, this crazy month I just had of resurgence, you know, I would hope that the things that people have been saying to me are true, that you don't care about my past and the shit that I was doing, you know, that was stupid and bad, because I admit it was stupid and bad, okay? All right, so, are you ready? Admission number 1. Yes, the They Call Me DSP account in WWE Champions is my account, okay? That's admission number 1. It is. It always was, okay? Now, it was very stupid of me to name it They Call Me DSP. You might say, why was he so dumb to name that account that? Because when I opened it in 2017, when the game launched, I didn't think anyone was going to ever give a fuck about my mobile game spending. I had already played games such as Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, Supercard, WWE Supercard, and others as well. And like, for me, it was like, who cares? Like, who would ever give a shit? I had already publicly posted and talked about playing those games, spending money on them and shit, right? So I never in my wildest dreams thought that it would ever blow up in the way that it did, okay? Fair enough. So what ended up happening was the game came out, 2017? And I barely played it that hardcore. Like the first year or so, I would say. It wasn't until the second year where the game actually got like redesigned to be more serious of a game. And so then it kind of warranted more time, more spending, etc. Well, I played it for what? It came out in 2017. So I would say I played it for like 2.5 years. And I think about year 1 or 2, like a year in, 2 years in, it got, to the point where everyone wanted to form guilds and factions because big events were being based in the game around that. So that's when I joined my first faction. And I was, playing along with the faction. At the time, I was low. I wasn't, I didn't have a good account or anything. They were teaching me along the way on how to play the game and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I don't remember. The time frame is going to be completely wrong in my head. I can't tell you times of anything because I don't know, because I never tracked it. Eventually, after being with this group for a while, I became one of the leaders of the faction. Okay? So, and then I was with them probably a year more. Okay? And so, of course, there's going to be there was Discord, chats and things like that. There never was an issue with any of this. Never. And then all of a sudden, somehow, someone had discovered that there was a WWE Champions name of my name. And I guess what it is someone who had played the game, knew how the accounts worked or whatever, and they did money. And they said, he spent thousands of dollars on the game, right? Based on some calculation that they had made. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what it is because I don't watch my detractors shit. Okay? And I'm not here to tell you I didn't spend money on the game. I absolutely have spent money on WWE Champions. Okay? A good amount of money on WWE Champions over the years. I'm here to fess on this, right? This is the big moment, correct? What ended up happening was, basically, my detractors, seeing that there was this name that said they call me DSP and had spent money in the game, went on this insane stalker spree, basically trying to get me banned from the game. All right. What they found is that obviously the makers of the game don't care that I have haters online. They don't give two fucks. So the attempt to get to the company and shit, no one cared, right? So what they ended up doing is they started actually sending in clandestine people into the servers, like the Discord chat of the clan that I was in, the faction I was in, to join and then start tracking conversations, trying to get all this information. Eventually what happened was, I guess, a detractor literally made shit up. They had made a fake Discord conversation between me and the actual guy who had founded this faction I was in, that it was some weird, I can't even remember what it was, but basically it was a fake conversation between me and this person saying that he had agreed to do all kinds of favors and shit if I kept spending money on the game. It was a weird conversation, right? But basically, they doxed the guy. They put it on Kiwi Farm. All right? So because the guy had gotten doxed, now it had escalated. It's not just, they're trying to talk to the company to get my account, kicked. They're not just having trolls join the server. They had doxed the leader of the faction I was in. And he confronted me about it. I'm like, dude, I have nothing to do with this. It's messed up that it happened. I'm really sorry, but obviously I can't control these people for what they're doing or whatever. And all along, I'm denying to the faction that I'm this streamer. I'm like, no, I'm not that streamer. That's not me. Okay? Well, what ended up happening was, even though I had been in that faction for 1-2 years, I don't remember the time frame again. I don't have that data. They kicked me from the faction. Okay? They outright just kicked me from the faction and said, fuck you, get out. Okay? So, after kicking me from the faction, now I'd already invested 2 years into the game. And I didn't want all that time investment and money investment to go to waste. So I went around looking for other factions. And that's when you could see this TJ Gamebox or whatever, who says that I joined his faction, right? And then all of a sudden, my trolls were following me around from faction to faction, joining the faction as well, just to track, information, to see how much money was being spent, to basically dox the other people in the faction, okay? So I probably joined and got kicked out of 2-3 different factions as a result of this, okay? Now, basically, after all that happening, I was fed up. And I was like, I wonder, is there a way around this? Is there a way that I could just like protect my identity in the game. Well, the game doesn't let you change your name. All right. So I did actually at one point, I reached out to the people who ran the game and I said, is there a way we could change my name so that no one would know that I'm this person? And then they stop harassing everyone around me. Because listen, I want to keep playing your game. I've invested time and money into it, but I can't. Everywhere I go, these people are harassing and doxing everywhere I'm involved in. So the company, you know, who owns the game, who makes the game, said, yeah, we can see if we can change your name or whatever. Okay. So I can't remember the exact specifics of how it all went down. All right. But to make a long story short, they are so dumb. All right. I explained to them, you know, the timing of everything. Like, here's how you do it. What I will do is I will quit a faction that I'm in. All right. You change my name when I'm out of a faction. Now there's no way to track me because no one knows where I am. Then I could join a new faction. Okay. Great. They idiotically changed my name before the time we had agreed to. So everyone saw the name change. I was still in the faction. People were still tracking the account and they saw the name change. They fucked it up. All right. So at this point now, it's like, there's no way at all that I'm going to be able to play this game because everywhere I go and everything I do, these people are going to be tracking it or whatever. So after a series of months kind of laying low, I think like a month or two, I didn't even have a faction. And then I tried to join a couple other factions and they kept following me around these factions to harass and troll and shit like that. Eventually I just gave up and I said, I'm never going to be able to play this game ever again. But I've got a lot of shit invested in this game, okay? Now, I'm going to leave it at that for now. We're going to go back to there, all right? Some of the things that my detractors have said over the years are outright lies. For example, that whole story about the Line app, okay? That's false. Once I did register for Line app, okay? It had nothing to do with WWE Champions at all, all right? It actually had to do with, and why would I lie, right? Right now, I'm literally already telling you this. So why would I lie about this part, okay? I never used Line app to play WWE Champions. The Line app account was because I had a potential sponsorship opportunity lined up. And basically, I found out basically when I started to research it, it was a scam. It was like a scam company who was going to fuck me basically somehow. But they wanted to communicate via Line app. Now, I actually don't know if like it was a detractor or something. I have no clue. All right. But yeah, it was fucked. It was like really fucked. Yeah, and basically the Line app thing's bullshit. Okay. The Line app thing's complete bullshit. On top of that, a lot of the shit that was said about WWE Champions was outright lies. Okay. So for example, my detractors would go out and be like, Phil spent $2,000, $3,000 in a weekend or whatever on WWE Champions. It's completely wrong. They have no idea what they're talking about. Either they don't know how the game works or they're purposefully overinflating numbers. You know, there were weekends, this is back then, you know, we're talking years ago, where I spent a couple $100s in a weekend on the game. Admit that. They would say I spent $1,200. Where are you getting that information from, right? Again, they could be grossly exaggerating on purpose because they know there's no real way to verify this. If I say something, I'm publicly exposing myself, right? So it's bullshit. Every time they say that, oh, he spent this on the game, he spent that on the game, it's always wrong. In fact, what I can tell you is that in regards to the game, there are always ways to like score points in an event that's not spending. And a lot of the times what it is, it's based on previous spending. So let's say last month you spent some money and you got one of the good characters, the new character, you could use them in the next month, right? To score in that event. But they're saying, oh, the only way that we know how much he spent is because it's based on like coin pulls. So he must have pulled this many coins or this many loot pulls to get this many points in the event. That's not how the game works. But they claim it is. But that's not how the game works at all. So they grossly have always over-exaggerated the spending that I've done in the game. Okay? Now, here's the part. Up to now, all right, all this kind of makes sense, right? Because it's kind of what my detractors have always said, all right? Now I'm going to tell you the part of the story absolutely nobody fucking knows whatsoever, all right? As of today, I don't have any control or ownership of that account anymore. All right? I sold it. At the times when I was like desperate for money and shit was going down, I sold the account. All right? And you might say, well, how is that possible? Right? Well, you may not think it's possible because technically you shouldn't be able to sell an account, but I actually just alluded to this on a stream the other day. And I was wondering if anyone was going to pick up on this. But no one seems to have picked up on it. Okay? So the reason I knew you could sell an account was because when I was really, on the original account, before I'd even changed my name, all right, there was another group in the game, and they were called, like, the Haven, all right? And they were one of the top factions in the game. And one of the leaders of the Haven was retiring from the game after, like, 2-3 years of playing it. And they announced this publicly, we're retiring or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So basically, he retires. He publicly announces he's retiring, yet his account is still active. It's still being used in events. People are fighting against this account in events. Like, wait a minute, the guy retired. He made a big public thing about it. So how the hell is his account still working? So people knew that basically you could basically sell your account. Of course, there's no outright way to do it. So basically, what I did, I reached out and I found that there was a market for this. There's third-party resellers. And what you do is you can give them certain criteria and information about the game, login accounts and things that would give them ownership of the account. And you could give that to them for money. And I sold it. All right? That was a few years ago. So I have not had any control over this account for years. That was the single worst thing I could have done. Because what I should have done, I should have just closed the account. Because if I just closed the account, even though people would have accused me of this for years and years, endlessly moving forward, all right, it would have kind of went away, right? But instead, I was like, man, I put so much time and money into this, right? I don't want to, I want to get something out of it, and I sold it like an idiot. And I hate that I did it now, because now I literally have no control over it at all. I can't show you, and like, for example, people will show the account. I literally can't, and I haven't been able to for years. Because it's not my account anymore. I don't have ownership of it. I have nothing to show you to prove that, they'd call me DSP, and then the names that change, that last name was down for the Raptors. I can't show you anything. Okay? I mean, you got morons in the chat, really morons in the chat. Show proof of sale. You really think right now I'm going to open up a PayPal account and show you anything? I'm going to open up a bank account and show you anything? You're an idiot. No one would believe it anyway. They just say I photoshopped it, or you know what I mean? I lied about this, I lied about that, right? So it's this simple, all right? You can believe my story or you cannot, all right? Here's what I will tell you. I still have the game, all right? But I don't have it on that phone. I have it on my current phone. It's my personal account. That's a brand new account. Not brand new because I've been using it for a while. I've had this phone for a while. But you guys didn't know that because I never told you. This is not an iPhone, all right? I've had this phone for a while. And this is what I do everything on now for the business. And I have some mobile games on here. It's my personal shit. And it's my right to own my own personal shit. And if I want to play games and stuff on it, I fucking can, all right? That's my right. So I never had, well, I haven't had that account on an iPhone for a while. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. Because every time people call me out and I'm like, well, maybe I could prove, I can't prove it. I don't own it. I have no ownership over it. I have no way to do anything. And just to let you guys know, all right, I have an iPad from ages and ages and ages ago. All right. It didn't work. Last night, I plugged it in and I charged it to 100%. I spent an hour trying to get back on the iPad. I got the iPad working. I said, holy shit. Maybe if I use the old ass information, I'll have a back door into the account. So I can bring it up tonight and show you guys on stream. Here's the account. And it's not mine anymore, but here it is. Guess what? The iPad is so outdated, it doesn't run WWE Champions. You download the latest compatible version, and when you go to play it, the game just crashes endlessly. And it's not just that, it's every game. Like, I tried to open WWE Supercard, that crashes too. Like, every game fucking crashes. So I couldn't get anything. You know what I'm saying? I have no way to corroborate what I'm saying. But here's the thing. If everything I just admitted, right? If the account was not mine all along, why would I have just admitted what I just admitted to you? I'd have no incentive. I would just keep the story going that it's not my account. Okay? There was no reason for me to admit that. I'm admitting because it's the truth. It was my account. I did spend on it. The trolls harassed me out of the game. And after years of that, I was like, fuck this. I'm just going to sell it. And I got rid of it. And now I regret it because if I had just closed it, this whole saga would have been over years and years and years and years ago. But I fucked up. With that act of, oh, I want to get something out of this or whatever, So I'm fessing up to all of you now, all right, that this is the truth of the matter. You don't have to believe me, and I know many of you won't, but that's the truth of the story, that really happened. Now, in regards to all the other shit that's said right there about the bankruptcy and everything, I've had enough of that. I'm just going to put it this way, okay? Because this is what no one wants to actually, rationally consider in their fucking heads, all right? So, I file for bankruptcy. I literally do everything I'm told by the bankruptcy attorney, line by line, word for word. All my expenses, all my business, personal, it's all done. It's all correct, okay? We submit it, and what happens is once I submit it and people now know I've now filed for bankruptcy, okay? My trolls mass messaged the judge that you heard in that call. They mass messaged that judge to tell her that I was committing bankruptcy fraud because I played WWE Champions. Okay? Mass messaged her. It wasn't just a one or two. All right? She got ridiculous amounts of people contacting her saying, this guy plays WWE Champions. He's committing bankruptcy fraud. All right? So, what you have no clue of, I've talked about this on streams before, but I'll now add it because this is the time to do it right now, right, in the React. After that call happened, the 341 call, all right, basically, the judge contacted myself and my attorney and said, listen, we got a big problem, all right? Never before have I been getting this many notices and messages from people saying, hey, this guy is basically a cheat and a scammer, and he's doing this and that, all right? We need to go over everything because we don't know what to believe or what not, and it's our due diligence to go over everything. I had so much difficulty to get that bankruptcy go through, all right? For example, what June just mentioned right there, he said in the bankruptcy documents, there was a thing for pets, and it said that I didn't own any pets, but I did. Everyone knew I owned Jasper. My trolls wrote the judge and said, he owns a cat. Here's all the video evidence of it. So the judge went back to my bankruptcy attorney and said, why don't you have Jasper listed in these documents? Now, I want you to think about this, all right? Letter of the law versus spirit of the law. The letter of the law is every single thing should be done exactly right at every moment. But spirit of the law is, in a bankruptcy, really what's going to happen? Is someone going to go after someone's personal cat as an asset in a bankruptcy? No, not unless it's like an insanely rare cat that's worth $5 million. Jasper Kitty is a normal domestic tabby cat. The court's not going to go after my cat in a bankruptcy proceeding. So it was an oversight that my tax attorney made that she didn't list it originally in the documents. There was an addendum to what you saw there, where we had to go back and redo the documents and resubmit them to the judge to actually break out that I owned the domestic cat. We weren't able to go through the bankruptcy until we did that, okay? There were several times we had to do that, where because the detractors looked at that document, because it was public, they kept messaging the judge, this is an error, this is an error, this is an error, this is an error. So we had to redo a whole bunch of shit, okay? Now, we had a meeting that was so fucking long and arduous and tedious, all right? We had to go through every line item. Because did you hear what the judge said in that call? She said, I want all the statements, 6 months of statements of all of your PayPals and all of your bank accounts, right? I want to see it all. And we had to go through all of it. All of it. All right? Line by line. We went through every expense. I explained them all away. I had to explain the nature of my job. I had to explain the nature of my business. I had to explain the nature of what WWE Champions was. I had to explain everything. This is not anything that people usually do in a bankruptcy. This was like the nightmare bankruptcy for me because it was so bad because the trolls interjected themselves so bad into it. All right? At the end of the day, right? When it was all said and done, and it took hours of going through this shit, right? The bankruptcy was granted. The judge says, everything you said looks good, makes sense. It's all correct. Bankruptcy granted. Okay? So, if it was good enough for my bankruptcy attorney, if it was good enough for the judge in the case of my bankruptcy, if all the data was right according to them, because we went through all of it, then what is wrong with the data? And it's funny because you could ask me, well, specifically, Phil, what is this line item and what was this expense? I don't know. All right? Literally all year, I track my expenses of all kinds. Some of them are personal, some of them are business. I don't know. I track them all in like a big spreadsheet, and that goes to a tax attorney. And every year, there's questions that shoot back at me, and I answer them all truthfully, and we do them. Okay? They're all done. So it's, you know what I'm saying? They're fine. There's no issue with my taxes. They're done properly. It was scrutinized by both a tax attorney, by both a bankruptcy attorney and a bankruptcy judge. We went line by line through all of it, and they were okay with it. So there's no issue. You understand? There never was an issue. This is something that's completely blown out of proportion by people who just don't know what the hell they're talking about. All right? I'm sorry. And that's, no, I'm not going to open up fucking financial documentation. I'm not going to open up my bank account. I'm not going to open up apps and fucking ledgers. You're not getting that. All right? I want to know why. I'm going to tell you why. There's two reasons why. Because number one, if I were to open up all of that documentation, okay, show you line by line all of that shit, my detractors, who we have seen throughout the course of this documentary are insanely obsessed with me, would use it to destroy me. They would find shit in there ultimately that they could hone in on a company and stuff like that. For example, we didn't get to it yet. We're going to get to bank leaks and all of that shit. Okay, we're going to get to that shit. Where it's already shown that if they're given even a little piece of information, they could do shit with it. Okay? So, FYI, no, it's too much of a personal risk. You understand? It is. It's too much of a personal risk for me to open up information like that to the internet. Now, there's the second reason why I'm not going to fucking show anything. Because it's none of anyone's fucking business. None. There's only certain parties who need to be involved who need to know this kind of stuff, right? Bankruptcy attorney, bankruptcy judge, tax attorney, IRS, who I file with every year. That's who needs the information. That's also who gets the information. And all the information is legal, true, and correct every single fucking time that I've done it. So it's none of anyone's business what it is, how it is broken down. Even I don't know because I don't do it. I pay professionals to do my stuff. That's the point. You pay professionals to do it right, to put the right stamp of approval on it, to make sure it's being done right. And I pay a lot of money to do it. I pay over $2,000 a year to get that shit done. Because I don't want to fuck it up at all. You know what I'm saying? I literally don't want to fuck it all up, right? So it's that simple. It's none of anyone's fucking business at all. People say, oh, well, you're a public figure. That's correct. It's still none of your business. What your business is your interaction with me on a stream every day. Whether it be we're talking, we're hanging out, I'm playing a video game, and you're watching my stream. Whether or not you're having a good time, if you like that, you support it or not. And that's it. That's where that relationship ends. You don't get to know every possible thing about every piece of my life. You understand what I'm saying? That's wild that people would think, well, now, because you had a bankruptcy, now you literally have to open up every document ever from your entire life. Every expense must be fucking accounted for. No, every expense does not have to be accounted for. All right? The people who need that information get it, and it's all correct. Every single fucking time, without fail. All right? So I'm putting it to bed right now. All right? It's that simple. I have been completely untruthful with the internet about this up to now because I was hoping that eventually people would forget about it. It would go away. This is the one thing that the detractors have always had me on, because they know I can't show you evidence without putting myself at personal risk. I will not show you evidence because it will put myself at personal risk. You can believe what I just said or not. The truth is, if what I just said was untrue, why would I have admitted to it? Right? What do I have to gain? Nothing. I should have just kept my fucking mouth shut, right? But this is the truth of the matter. Do you understand? See what I'm saying? So that's that. I mean, that's really it. There's nothing else to say. Now I'm done. Like, I'm literally done with it. I'm not going to talk about this again. I'm not going to waste time on it in the future because I told you the full story. Now, do I still play WWE Champions? Yes, I do. On my actual personal account, on my current phone, I play WWE Champions. You will never see that account because it is mine. And if I showed it, the detractors would nonstop try to get information about me and my new account on. And I'm not going to fuck around like that at all. You're never going to see that account ever. All right? You will see me once in a while, possibly playing WWE Champions on stream with the new account that I made, just to play through my new PC and hang out with everyone on streams to do that. Okay? And that's it. All right? So that's the story. You don't have to believe it. Many people won't. The detractors who are here tonight will never, ever understand or believe the story. Do you see? So that's that. And I'm done with it. I'm not answering any more. If you actually come to me and ask me a question about WWE Champions, I'm going to say, watch part 3 of the DSP Reacts, the June the King documentary on DSP Reacts. That's the answer. That's the truth. I'm done with you. I'm moving on. If you don't accept it, goodbye. Sorry for all the trouble that I caused you. I really am. I really made a big mistake when I decided to keep this going, to keep the lie going. It was a bad move. I should have just either completely fessed up or just deleted the account and got it over with. But instead, because I made this stupid choice to sell it to try to make some money to help myself, it screwed me over. It really did. It completely screwed me over. And I'm sorry that I lied to you for so long about this. Ooh. I really am. Because it really should have been dumb. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense at all. But what's funny is, to this day, daily, the detractors are tracking this account that apparently has been fine. You know, I couldn't find a place where I could go where my detractors wouldn't dox people. And apparently the account's still active because you see Duty making fucking videos about it. DSP spent $2,448 today. No, I did not. You idiot. You incredible moron. Maybe that person did, right? Maybe that person actually did who bought the account or from this third party. Because remember, like I said, I sold it to this place that they basically reassign accounts to buyers or whatever. I didn't sell it directly to a person. Okay? So maybe that person found an account, and I don't know. I literally have nothing to do with it, nor do I care. All right? I'm done talking about it. You want to talk about us playing the game on stream? We can do that. That's fine. You want to talk about general knowledge of the game? Sure, I'll do that. I'm not talking about the past anymore. I'm done with it. So all these idiots, look, because you see how many detractors there are in the chat right now, and they're all just, you know, they're all fucking gray names. Oh, you're lying. I don't care about you. No, I don't care about you. You mean nothing to me. I was never going to win you over anyway. This is for the people who've been sitting around waiting for a very long time for some resolution. And I hope that this is some resolution for some people now so we can move on. And again, if this means that sadly some people can't accept the answer and they're not happy with it, and they want to fucking be angry with me or whatever, they have the right to do that. I'm sorry that I lied for so long about this account. I didn't think it was anyone's business or it should have been a big deal. I don't think it ever should have been made a big deal of. But you can't change the past. What you can do is move forward positively, and that's what I've been trying to do. If anything, this last month's of resurgence here has felt so positive and new. You know what I mean? It felt like a big, people telling me it doesn't matter. Just fucking tell the real story. So I will, right? And again, if there's no reason for me to not verify what I'm saying, I can't show you because I don't own the account. If I had it, I would show it to you right now. It's me. There'd be no point to not showing you it. Because I'm already telling you, yes, I spent a lot of money on the game in the past. Years, those first 3-4 years? I don't even remember, again, the time frame. But basically, I quit because I gave up. I was like, I can't play it anymore. These people are fucking stalking me endlessly. Right? So I'm already telling you, I already have, right? Okay? Are we good? We still don't care. Spend money on mobile games however you want. You're not scamming charities, faking cancer, or messaging 13-year-olds, so we don't give a fuck. Here's your crown. Tony Pamford did a $50 super chat and said, I can understand people being upset about lies. It seems like lying was your only way to be able to play the game. This is the most nothing burger scandal that I've ever heard of. SFM9 did a super chat. Why tell us now and not on side scrollers? Because if I told side scrollers, number one, I didn't trust them. Number two, I didn't have the account to show them. Do you understand? I didn't just sell it yesterday. I didn't even have it last year. So I didn't have anything to prove anything I said, so they wouldn't have believed me anyway. Just like right now, people aren't going to believe me. But if you don't have the corroborating evidence, why even say it, right? Say it ain't so. I was happier thinking you were the #1 WWE Champions player in the world instead of knowing that you sold it. You'll always be down from the rafters to me. And yes, I came up with those names. There was another one in the middle there too. And then there was down from the rafters. I came up with both of those names. All right, Bayou got to 97 sips. And he says, to be honest, even if you're not being honest, I don't care. Well, I appreciate that, but I am being honest about all of this. At this, finally. I received a $1.69 tip. And he said, SOF916, he says, I've looked at your filing. It's rough. Flush the duty. I did flush the duty yesterday. I received a $1 tip. If people email you and ask to be unbanned because of drama with WWE Champions, will you do it? Likely yes. I received a $42 tip. This guy says, down from the rafters, yo, I want to say thanks for selling me the account, bro, and take care, King. All right. $42 tip from the real down from the rafters. I'm sure it's really them. All right, I guess I should say the current down from the rafters, right? To the super chat, he says, you never answered the burning question. How many Hogans did you own? How many Hogans did you own on your new account? On the original account, I pulled the original Hogan, which was Powerhouse Hogan. I had him, and he was one of the rarest cards when I got it. That was when I was still with the very first faction, and I was a faction leader and all of that. I don't think I pulled any more Hogans on that account because I think the other ones was after all the crap went down. I think it was just that. And then I played, like I said, I tried doing it in the factions. You know, now the Hogans are actually quite easy to pull. Many of them are actually very easy to pull. They're not rare anymore. In fact, they give away some of them pretty easily. So the whole Hogan thing actually is a dumb meme. It's not representative of their being difficult to pull or anything. And Adam just did a super chat. Feels good as a detractor to be right about mobile game addiction. Sweep loser. You sent me a super chat. You paid me to say that. Like, maybe I should just leave him unbanned, but I'm just going to ban him on principle. Because I was thinking maybe he would actually send me another super chat, but he's really dumb. Right? So I'm just going to ban him.
Typically helps me more than anything.